product, when we sought out to find a technology that could allow us to do two things. One was to address the comfort and the needs of the people that are really in the market today because of virus. And the second thing was how to help protect people so they feel safe. Can it prevent it? No. But it can make people aware and feel safer when they're going somewhere. That's the purpose of Guardera. I'll let Martin get into the technology, but the reason I chose this is because this is cutting edge. There's nothing in the market. You get a teeny little screen that doesn't do it. And some of you said when you saw it, wow, this is more impressive in person. It is.
Yeah.
It's even more impressive when you see it work. With that, I'll just let it
You got it.
go.
So our goal was really to try to do whatever it is we can to help slow the spread, right? And what is the best technology that we could come up with based on what's available and make it better? So we have been developing the product for a period of months. Ever since it happened in China, we had a good feeling that it was going to come here. So we wanted to provide the best solution for everybody when it came over here. It's true that it doesn't detect COVID-19, but it allows us to take the most contagious people out of the loop, and the most contagious people being with fever. And it also allows you to do a mask check. Are people wearing a mask when they're walking into a place of business? And that obviously not only helps slow the spread, but it helps lower liability for companies as well. And that's the key. So, we wanted to make sure that it had all the right features and all the right and the right design and look. If you're looking out in the marketplace, like Dean just mentioned, there are some other solutions out there. They are primarily, a lot of people use a handheld thermometer. You walk up to people. However, that's not a useful solution because then you have broken the social distancing guidelines and you put people right next to each other. So a non-contact solution was the most important thing for us, right? And then we went on from there, and how can we improve each one of these features to get the best product possible. Secondly, you also see some units out there that are kind of like a video camera that sits on a tripod. I know I don't have to say what the problem is with that. I mean, anybody can knock it over inside of a second. It can fall over people. Also, those type of cameras, they have a much smaller screen. The problem with a smaller screen is that it takes longer to actually get your face into the correct position, right? When you have a wide screen, you have an opportunity to get it done quickly and accurately, and then move on. So we're going to go through some of the features on the machine, but what you'll see is that, in addition to the fever screening and the mask check, it also has artificial intelligence, which allows for facial recognition. And with facial recognition, it can also be used as an ID access machine. And that has tons of capability to potentially even be integrated into existing security systems if people want to use it for access purposes to a building. So those are the features of the machine, and I think we can just dive right in and try it out. So you have the system settings here. That's this button on the left, and here's your facial recognition with a little face. That's what the settings look like. We can do that in a minute, but if somebody wants to just try to go up and use it, I'll just give a little guideline as to how best to use it. You don't want to go too close, you don't want to go too far. You want to be in somewhere range of 12 to 16 inches away from the machine to get yourself a quick, accurate reading. You have a question?
I'll go.
You'll go? Come on.
All right.
Here's one thing I will tell you about black masks, just so you know.
Yeah.
Black masks, because they're dark, artificial intelligence does not have the same capability of measuring and seeing if the mask is on properly, or even that you have a mask, and it makes it harder to read. The sweet spot where it measures temperature is really here at the bridge of your nose and throughout your forehead right here. So it has trouble sometimes with dark masks. That's one of the issues with the technology, but there's no quick solution to that right now, just so you all know. So we can certainly try to have you do it with the temperature, as long as you have your mask down enough, which you do. So anyway, go up to 12 to 16 inches. Look into the eyes right there. And you see you get 97.8 degrees, normal body temperature with a green light. So it measured you properly. And it didn't say for you to wear a mask, which means that it actually recognized that you were wearing a mask, okay? If you were not wearing a mask, and I can do that next if you'd like. Yeah, or take your mask off, and do the same position. And I would walk away from the camera and then walk up to it, because once you stand in front of it a lot, it's trying to figure out what's going on, so, yeah. A little closer? There you go. Not wearing face mask, you see that there's a note right there. And that data and that information, then can get uploaded to your cloud, and it can be either a cloud system that we provide through our consultants, or if somebody already has.
Or data management, or security, to let people know that, hey, they're not coming in with a mask, or their temperature's
You
higher.
can also announce it.
Yes, and you can also actually announce it with
Sound.
volume.
Oh, will it?
Yeah.
Okay, all
Now,
right.
if that's what you choose to do, some people like to have the privacy. For example, you have an option to have the temperature of someone be also broadcast,
Okay,
right?
all right.
But some people, there might be some concerns about privacy there, about specifically what their temperature is. So generally speaking, we turn off the broadcast of the temperature.
Right.
Yes, so getting back to your question, yes, there can be certainly a notification. The more extensive way of doing that requires a little development based on whatever system the company may be using, but we have a consultancy firm that helps and make that get done.
Okay.
But how it's able to do it right now with very little additional issues is that it sends the data to a URL or into the cloud, and you can actually check it on the URL. So if you have someone in a back office that can do that. And you know what? Why don't you jump into that part a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, all right, so every time any type of measurement is taken, that data is at that exact same moment pushed to the cloud. We're leveraging Google's cloud platform, and essentially, without getting into too many details, it just goes to a big database that can be used by any of your IT guys to be able to create connections to that data, right? Once you have that secure connection, you can set that up to do whatever you need. As something comes in real time, perhaps you want to have that trigger a message or something along those lines. Short of that, though, as our basic offer is that as Martin mentioned, you can log in, login password, and be able to see all the data coming through on each of the machines that you own. We would suggest that if for wanting to integrate that with a security system or something along those lines, a little development might be necessary. But for also a lot of use cases, just be able to see the data come in is totally fine. So it really depends on the customer and where do they see this fitting into their flow of people coming in and out of their facilities.
I have a question. Is the data encrypted as it's being streamed over Wi-Fi to the cloud, up to the cloud?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have APIs that are available for the IT people to be able to plug into Google's cloud?
Yes.
Okay.
You want to turn on the sound so they can get the.
Yeah, we could get into some of the settings and show you that, and we can also show you how you can register a profile of a person in case, there are two modes, right? You've got visitor mode
Okay.
and non-visitor mode,
Yeah.
okay?
All right.
So, for example, if you have a place of business where anybody's coming in, then you have it in visitor mode.
Okay.
You turn that off if it's specifically for employees, right?
Right.
So this is the visitor mode right now. That's where that just checks anybody. Now, if you're in the visitor mode is off, I'm going to show you what happens here. So let me jump into a few things here. And our new user interface, still familiarizing myself with it actually, because we just completed this new look a couple days ago. But if you take a look here, if you'd like, you can move a little closer as long as we're not hugging. First you have visitor mode on or off, right? Here you can register a profile. That would be if you want to register an employee or whatever it might be, or somebody that comes into your place of business regularly. There you can view those profiles, you can view the temperature history, you can clear it, and you can check the visitor mode's temperature history specifically or clear it. Broadcast measurement results, that's again whether it's going to broadcast the volume of something, and that you can have on or off. I just happen to have the volume down right now, so why don't we take off broadcast measurement results right now. Configure data upload address. That's where you go specifically to put an address in for your URL where you want to upload the data.
Okay.
Volume settings, I can put that up a little bit. Measure temperature in Fahrenheit, obviously that's what we're doing.
But
The
it can be
mask,
centigrade too.
what's that?
It can be centigrade.
Okay.
It can be either or, exactly, yeah. So whether you want the mask check or not, some places of businesses may not be doing it in some parts of the country or elsewhere. There you set the minimum temperature to trigger an alert and the maximum to trigger an alert as well. And here we have it at 89.6 right now as the minimum. If it's lower than that, then someone's in trouble. Maximum, we have it at 99.1. I understand that fever really could be 100.4 or something like that, so that can be adjusted a little bit according to what you feel is appropriate. The next few items, temperature compensation and camera angle settings, those don't need to be touched at all. Here you just go in and change your password, or you check for a software update and you update it. That's the basic background of the settings on the machine. Let me go and just show the other side of the settings as well. This is where you go into, and sure somebody here has an Android. This is essentially an Android type of machine where you can set your Wi-Fi. You want to change any wallpaper or whatever it is you want to do here. But primarily this is for Wi-Fi. Date and time, whether you want 24-hour clocks or 12-hour clocks, those kind of things.
You can actually print out data too?
Yeah, because Tom, why don't you answer that properly?
Can you print out data? I'm sorry, what was the question?
There was a section on the settings where it said printing. So can you print out data if you need to print it out?
Your better option would be to log in to the cloud reporting to be able to do the printing of that information there.
Okay, all right.
Of course, yeah. I mean, any of the data that is stored locally, you could also print that. But it would probably be a heck of a lot easier for you to work with off of your PC and just logging in and printing the data
Okay,
and exporting it to Excel or what have you.
sounds good.
Are you ultimately going to develop it to where you'll push out software updates rather than leaving it to be a manual, check for the people on site?
Yeah. OTA updates are is definitely something we're looking to have in the near term. But relatively speaking, it's not going to be a mobile phone where we're pushing out updates every other day. It will be a situation where somebody has to just tap a button for that software update just in the short term. But yeah, we're absolutely looking into OTA.
Does this have facial recognition?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what we're
So
going.
why don't you show them creating a new profile as in
That's-
attendance mode?
That's what I'm about to do right now. So we're going to go in and register a new
One more
profile.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
You've got right now visitor and employee. Can this thing be set up to where it's dynamic, to where if a company has this in their front room, the machine will automatically detect whether or not it's an employee based upon facial recognition that was captured during the onboarding process to the company. So this way, when that person walks up, the system will recognize them as an employee immediately versus recognizing them as a visitor, rather than having to manually change it.
That's absolutely our intent. That's not what we have right now. It is kind of in a either or
So you gotta buy two
setting
machines, one for
for now.
employees, one for.
And it is in our pipeline of things that we're looking to address over the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, those discussions have been made, and we're working on hopefully having that solution, and we'll keep you posted on that. So why don't we go ahead and register a new profile so we can try that. Whoever wants to come up here and do that, and join the efforts. Anybody? Come on.
Mario, he's our.
Me?
Yeah, why not?
It's you again.
You're our guy.
All right, so we're going to register a new profile. And here you can put profile ID, employee ID, or whatever you choose to do.
Oh, just put in?
Yeah, so you just put in your name, you gotta go to the line.
You want to raise the other.
And then erase the other, right?
It's complicated.
There you go. I thought you were only 23.
You didn't see that.
All right, so now when you're in position properly as you are now, you're looking into the eyes properly, you can just take a photo. Okay, that did it. It's rather quick. And then we can hit save.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You can come in. Yeah,
Okay.
you can come in.
Needs his mask.
Oh.
So now we can see here the registered profiles, just so we can look at what that looks like. And here you see Mario, you're the only registered profile in here. And now that we have visitor mode off, if you walk away from the machine real quick, and then you can walk right back, and since visitor mode is off, you're in employee type mode. And it says your name and employee number and normal body temperature right there.
It's also talking the temperature and the mask.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Oh, that time I heard that.
Yeah, you heard it talk.
Yeah, I turned up the volume on it right now. You know, some people may want that loud, some people may not want it at all. You know, you have that option to do as you please with that. But
That
that,
eliminates somebody monitoring it. basically.
that's the thing, and I'll give an example myself. Just a couple of weeks ago, I cut my leg and had to go to the urgent care. And I walked up to the urgent care. There was a lady that greeted me outside, essentially just greeting me, doing nothing else. And then I walked inside the door, and there were two ladies sitting behind a long table. One of them came up with a handheld thermometer, put it to my forehead, while she was shouting back information to the other lady at the table that was taking notes. And so that process not only required 3 people to do something that this can do inside of a second or two. I mean, the measurement itself is a second or less. As long as you walk up to the machine properly. The one thing I would say, you don't want to walk up and do this kind of thing, or trying to put your head into position, because the technology doesn't allow for you to be able to do that. But anyway, so there were 3 people that had to take my temperature, take notes down, and greet me, which could have all been solved by this.
Yeah. As you walk up, will there be instructions on how to,
Yes, so
you have something already for that?
I think, you know, the best way to do it is that you have a marker as to where people are supposed to stand.
Yeah.
And as long as they stand at the right place, and then they position their eyes where the eyes are, then it's going to be just fine. You don't want to be too far or too close. There is a range that you want to be in, and that range is generally 12 to 18 inches, somewhere in there. Sweet spot 15, but that's and that's it.
Pop in on that one, guys, just real quick. As long as you align your eyes into the circle, you will get a correct measurement. So if somebody's a little bit shorter, they'll have to move closer just to be able to get their eyes into the circle. If they're a little bit taller, they have to step away. But due to the angle, this should account for most people, unless they are a very, very tall basketball player or a very, somebody the size of a child. But by and large, as long as they walk up, put their eyes into position, we should get an accurate reading pretty much at the first step.
All right. So
What would you consider very tall?
Sorry, go ahead.
What would be considered tall?
Well, I think if you're pretty tall, so you're probably about 6'4", right, or so. Yeah, so you probably would have to look down a little bit to get yourself into a position like this, right?
Test it with him, see how it works.
Yeah. I know he's.
You said how many
cameraman, too.
inches, what'd you say, 17, 18 inches? Yeah, sure.
What? Distance
In
from
terms
the
of
unit?
distance from the machine, yeah.
Oh, distance from the unit.
Because
I would
someone
say-
who's taller is gonna either have to go like this,
Well, you
right,
can-
or,
you
You have to bend his knees.
Right.
You have to maybe bend it just a tiny bit. You just got to make sure you're close enough first, and you're not right now. Okay, and then
Yeah.
just put your eyes down, and you should be able to get a read.
yeah, there you go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you have to do
Okay,
it that
just let me
way.
just
Closer.
do this real quick, and just start it over.
Okay.
And put your eyes down.
Gotta get your eyes in the eye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I know why. Let me time out for a second and explain why that is not. Because now we have only measurement for the registered persons. And he's not.
Right,
Oh, okay.
So that's the challenge, yes. So we got to change the
that
nose.
needs to get fixed. It should convert.
Two machines never hurt sales.
That's why you do two machines, one for visitor, one for
There you go.
employee.
Now you can try it again.
Sales instead of one.
So about 15 inches or so, and then look down.
True sales.
Gotta get your eyes,
Yeah, try to get your eyes in there.
almost little close.
All right.
You're too far away.
Yeah, you're still a little too far away.
Yeah.
That's the challenge there. Try to
Get
go
your
down.
eyes to fill up all the slide.
Yeah. Pull down your mask just a little bit because it does. There you go. Please adjust your mask. Okay, there you go. There it is. Okay. Sorry it took you a minute there, but sometimes.
there, huh?
These are like goo.
This machine will be able to lift, would you think that in the future that they probably just want to
Adjust your height.
So you know, we are. This device, because there's a wide range of heights, right? I mean, you know, the way this is positioned, anybody who's 5'2" and below is going to have to stand on a little step, okay? Anybody who is 6'4" like yourself or taller, it's a little more cumbersome. I'm sorry about that, but there's not much you can do with a machine like this. Now, we have some other devices that we will be coming out with as well where you can put on the wall. And potentially even adjust. But this has the overall applicability and design and use that we think is going to do the best because people are used to kiosks. They're used to that kind of an environment and walking up to it and get something done.
Yeah.
Not everybody likes to go in and look at a wall, so. But we have that as another solution as well that will be coming in the future.
Good.
As long as you line the eyes up and you're not, you're fiddling the socket, because when you were standing there, it was like, we were kind of like farther back, and it wasn't, you gotta get into the vision. And the other thing is, like Martin said, the black mask, or if the mask is up too high, it really needs the temperature read in this. Like think of a scuba mask, you gotta kind of allow that viewing spot.
Right, but it tells you if you're masking.
Pardon me?
It tells you to lower the mask.
Yeah, it will tell you.
Yeah.
But again, it's a machine.
Right.
But when it says please adjust your mask, you could also, let's say some people are doing one of these jobs, right?
Oh, right.
Okay, because a lot of people, you see people out there, I want to have it like this so I can still breathe, then why are you wearing the mask? But anyway, so it will actually tell you, it recognizes when the mask is too low and it's down here or something like that.
It seems like it will cover probably anyone that's 6'2" down to, what was it, 5?
Yeah, 5'3", once you're 5'3", 5'2", we are going to recommend to have a stool just to step up on to do it. It goes quicker that way. Maybe just have it to the side, put it in front, and put it back.
What about people in a wheelchair?
What's that?
People in a wheelchair.
Smaller on average.
Yeah, well, see okay. So at each place of business that has is going to have a solution like this, right? Not every solution works for everybody. It doesn't work for a child unless the child is, lifted up or put on a pedestal. If it comes a person with disabilities,
Yeah, it's not designed for that, and that's where each business has to have a backup. That backup can be one of those solutions, the handheld, or if they have another system in mind that works for them. That's not our side of it. I think each business will have to make that choice. This is a solution that covers most people quite well, but not children and people with disabilities. We just have to have a backup secondary option.
It's a possibility, if there are two people, you could tilt the machine too. We haven't tried it, but I'm just saying, because the
That's-
technology.
Crack the screen.
Yeah, no, we don't need that. I wouldn't risk that.
Just saying, it's something that.
Now then, if we suggest that, then somebody's gonna do it and it's gonna fall on their head, so let's not do
Just the
that.
inventing side.
Yeah, so I think we've shown you most of the features on it. Do you have any questions? Anybody?
What about maintenance and service?
So, really, there's not a whole lot of service that's required on something like this. It's a stable Android system. If there's any part that breaks, which is unlikely.
Like a broken screen.
Yeah, I mean, you could have a broken screen, you could have a new LED light that you may need, that maybe the IR goes bad. But we haven't had those experiences yet, but we are having parts that we're going to have available in case of those things, in case it needs to be repaired. But the manufacturing warranty is for 12 months. Yeah, and it covers obviously not any damage that's done by the owner of the unit themselves. But if there's any hardware issues that have resulted during the first year.
It's a modular plug-in, so that, like, for example, you've seen those plugs where they snap to each other. That allows us to pretty easily swap it out. In the back of the unit, there's a door that allows access. But the worst case is if there's a complete failure, which, as Martin said, has not happened, we would have to just exchange the unit.
Would the customer be able to purchase any kind of insurance from you guys or us, or is that on them?
Or
Service agreement or
Yeah.
something.
It's available, I mean, again, there's a million places we could set up.
I mean, they
a
could
client to do
basically
that.
put
You
this
guys
in
find it
their
demanding.
insurance through
mean,
whatever.
extended
The business,
Yes,
yeah, the
yeah,
business
standard
insurance.
Yeah, we can look at doing that, that's not a problem, there's a ton of Assuring, and there's a lot of them.
Okay.
They're all looking for additional revenue.
Yeah, exactly.
Any other questions?
Would you say most of your application will be commercial as opposed to consumer environment?
Commercial.
Pretty much commercial, yeah.
Because, I mean, that again depends.
Hospitals right now.
Okay.
We are having many conversations with various hospitals. So just want to make sure that we're all on the same page with those target and projection opportunities.
I have a question on down the street business.
Okay?
What's the capacity? I mean, I know for the amount of people in an office, I know that these haven't been placed a lot yet, right?
We are in some sizable locations, and I don't know what your
What I
definition of
mean
a
down
lot
the
is.
street is your business like this.
Yeah,
This person is very concerned about wearing the masks.
right.
The one that leases these, so I know there's a certain amount of people here. And this,
I would go after them.
That's perfect.
Opportunity. It's like
So
time
for
to
the
call
amount,
them.
the reason why I ask is, I have the background of business to business,
Uh-huh.
and now I'm sorting it out of how this would be placed.
It's
So in other
really-
words, you're targeting larger
What you're targeting.
corporations, larger hospitals, where he's talking about smaller
It
companies.
depends, some companies want to be able to use that instead of a key card.
Yeah.
Because it does have the database tracking, it tracks time, it tracks temperature, do you have a history of?
And
Well, I'm looking-
it could keep track of the employees, what time they came in, what
Yeah,
time
It
they
just
left.
depends, it's like anything, if you got 10 employees, maybe not worth it, but maybe if you have 30, or you have people constantly coming in and out that are employees at different locations, it may be totally valuable.
Well, my plan is to target everything I can target that would, this
Sure,
would
sure.
fit, that would have a good fit.
Yeah,
Even though I want to go after the larger amount of employees or companies.
right.
But I don't want to miss something that has maybe 20 or 25 employees.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, for a place that has 20, 25 employees, you can probably get away with one one device,
Oh,
right?
two.
Or two, sure.
Visitors
Visitor
and-
and, yeah, so two devices.
Multiple sales.
Yes, like that.
There are environments that are calling to ask for this because they're mandated, publicly to protect their own employees. Like you said, there's the employee aspect and then there's the consumer or
Right.
visitor side.
Yeah.
And again, it's to your benefit to sell two pieces.
I am looking into, because we sell equipment for a packaging company, and we give them two offers. We tell them, okay, this is what it'll cost you to buy the equipment, or if you want a lease to buy, this is what your cost would be. So there's leasing companies out there that do the equipment, and the monthlies are almost nothing.
Right.
It's like $100 to $200 a month. And those, if you're selling two or more, they might say, oh, that's a lot of money, but if you talk them into a 36-month lease, it's almost nothing to be.
You guys work with leasing groups already?
I'm looking for one right now,
Okay.
but I know they're out there.
Oh, there are a lot.
Yeah, they're available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we look on international distribution? I do a lot of business in Africa.
Okay, interesting. We actually are expanding to Mexico and Canada. We have large interest in both of those countries. We have also, we're opening an office in Europe. We have, that's where Tom is sitting right now, by the way. And we have not explored Africa, but it doesn't mean that we can't.
Okay.
Certainly open to that discussion.
Okay, and we will certainly be looking,
220.
Now, in Canada and Mexico, there's no exclusivity, right?
There's no exclusivity, but we just want to make sure that there's
Of
no
course.
steps
No,
on the
of course.
same
Right,
company, right? That's why we have a target sheet that's a living, breathing document. So we make sure we communicate openly about where we're going with things, so there's no issues.
I'm gonna make sure my guys